look back on my tape that I did at the studio here, I laugh. Being Gothic was just a phase. It wasn't me. I like to be more outgoing and happy instead of like down and dreadful.
I can accept his look a little better now than I did prior. I'm not crazy about his look, but I can accept it.
After the show in April, we went to Texas to see my family down there, and that was fun, and that's when we got really, really close. It was like the best time I've ever had with my dad.
The trip was good. I enjoyed father and son, our relationship. We got to talk a little bit. We got to express our feelings.
We've got a little bit closer, but then after like 6 months after the show, everything just started falling apart. We were just like oil and water.
After the show, I felt the big stress, like a big burden off my shoulder. But there was still a lot of issues that hadn't been settled. There was still conflict.
I have a band now, and my dad completely does not like our music.
Don't like his music. Drives me crazy. I don't consider it music.
It hurts sometimes when he just like tells me that it's not gonna work out, it's not gonna make it or anything, and I hate it. I feel that he's pushing my dreams down. I would love my dad to accept me for who I am and what I do.
I was a typical high school girl. We just did all the fun things that most teenagers do. If someone had asked me at the time of my graduation, where do you see yourself in 10 years? My response would have been married with children and a practicing attorney. But unfortunately, my life took a huge change in 1989. After my first year in college, I met a guy. He swept me off my feet. Money was accessible, and we did many things that most 19-year-olds weren't able to do. Like, we took trips to Colorado to ski. Late one afternoon, he and I met a friend of his at a car wash who turned out to be an undercover informant. He was arrested for dealing cocaine. I was shocked. And I was even more shocked when they came looking for me 30 days later. I was tried and convicted for aiding and abetting, intent to distribute, and conspiracy charges. I was sentenced to 15 years, 8 months. Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that 10 years from the date of my graduation, I would have been sitting in a federal prison. I served almost 11 years. Since I've been home, I've been faced with the challenge of catching up. I'm attending school, but this is something that I should have completed many, many years ago. I went from being homecoming queen cheerleader to being ex-felon, criminal. I feel that this stupid mistake is branded across my forehead. I feel powerless over the fact that I can't bring those years back. I constantly question, if I wouldn't have made that decision or gotten in trouble, where would I be today? Because of my own stupidity, I screwed up my life plan.
I've always been late. If you looked at my jobs I've had, my punch cards, always late. 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, doesn't matter.
My husband is never on time for anything. I think it's disrespectful, not only to me, but to other people. He's been told, you've been late your whole life, and this is just the way you are.
I could wake up and get ready 3 hours before I have to be somewhere, and I'm still gonna be 10 minutes late. It drives my friends crazy. It's gotten to the point they'll have a meeting time, they'll tell me half an hour earlier. And it's frustrating because now I try to plan for that. So it ends up sometimes like I'm 40 minutes late now.
I just want to be able to trust him. When he says he's going to be somewhere, he's going to be there.
It's definitely a problem with my marriage. She lives by the clock, and the fact that I can't be on time, it drives her nuts.
I think it's odd that a grown man cannot be on time, and I've tried to tell him this is not normal.
My question for Dr. Phil would be, is being late, like I am, a normal thing?
Money has put a huge rift between my husband and I because our value system is so different.
I would never put us in financial peril My spending is not reckless, it's just a little more flamboyant.
I always gravitate to the sale items. Terry is just the opposite. He may as well go up to the clerk and just say, show me the most expensive thing you have. I don't like to waste money.
I bought a boat. We had a conversation one night before I purchased the boat where she said, if you really want the boat, I think that you should have it. And I moved forward quickly on it. When reality set in, she started backpedaling some, and the fact that I went ahead and did it bothered her.
We had the Suburban, and I didn't like the Suburban. And the boat is just, it's so big that the Suburban can't even pull it, and so then he ends up getting this big truck. So we've got big thing, big thing, big thing. Well, he bought this truck. It's big, and it's loud, and it's a gas guzzler, and it's kind of the antithesis of everything that I am.
There was never any argument about a pickup until I found this one, and then I brought it home, and her exact words were, you know, that's idiotic.
The night before he decided to buy it, I cried. I couldn't have been more clear to him that I didn't want him to buy the truck. He just didn't take my feelings into consideration. It was the first year that we were going to be sending our son off to college, and the cost of the truck was going to be about a cost of a year's tuition.
I've always felt like it was not about the money. It was a matter of we shouldn't buy that truck because of the image that that truck portrayed.
When he brought that truck home, it was laughable. I needed help to get in. And then when it's time to get out of the truck, Terry has to come around, and then I jump on his back like a frog and just think, Hannah, I don't like that truck.
I would think that she would want me to be happy, and if buying a truck like that made me happy and I wasn't being irresponsible with money, then why should I not have it?
He knows how I feel about the truck. It's a big deal. I would love to be at peace about the truck because I want our marriage to get back to the way that it was. I just want him to sell it. Bottom line, he's got to sell that truck.
I was married for 27 years, and like so many women out there, I stayed for the children. During the last 3 years of my marriage, it was just dead. From the time I was an 18-year-old girl, all I knew was life with my husband, and I was uneducated and unskilled, relying on him.
But eventually, Paula got to the point where she needed to stop hanging on to her lifeless marriage and start making a better life for herself and her children.
I knew that I had to become responsible for myself. I had a real big misconception of myself. I actually thought I was weak.
With $200 to her name, Paula decided to start a business out of her home.
I had no skills, no talent, so I turned to my stove to save my family. I knew the girl could cook, so that's what I did.
Paula started out with a meal delivery service. She called herself the Bag Lady and made lunches and delivered them to local business people around town.
I started out with one route, fixing about 50 to 60 meals a day, and then before I knew it, through word of mouth, I was preparing 200 meals a day. I would get up early in the morning to start putting all the meals together. At 5 o'clock, boneless chicken breasts would go on the grill for our grilled chicken salads. On barbecue day, I'd put butts on the grill at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning and let them cook all night. I probably averaged 18 to 20 hours a day. I had food everywhere. Before I knew it, my dining room was a pantry. I just prayed for it to be cold because I'd put my food out on the back porch and let God refrigerate it for me.
Paula says everything was a slow step-by-step process, including learning how to handle the business side of running her own company.
Math and bookkeeping, it was the pits. I learned as I went. I worked very, very hard day and night to save money because I knew what the next step was going to be. I knew that my food belonged in downtown Savannah.
So after 6 years of working out of her home, Paula took all of her savings and opened The Lady and Sons in downtown Savannah.
I just kept telling myself, I can, you can. We went from that $200 to $2.5 million.
And Paula's belief in herself has made The Lady and Sons one of the most popular restaurants in Savannah.
It is never, never too late. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and it is never too late. And I'll try to say this without being too emotional, but since the day I took responsibility for myself, God has not missed one day blessing me. But God helps those that help themselves.